Hey, folks, just a friendly reminder that all shows on the Madness Comic Network are produced by their individual hosts and in no way reflect the opinions of the network as a whole. The statements in the following broadcast are not necessarily the opinions of the Madness Comic Network, its staff, sponsors, or contributors. This show is rated TVMA, as are all of them and all those other letters. Viewer discretion is highly advised, and, just do what Doc says. Read that again. Peace, everybody.
Flip City Magazine is just really pulling out all the stops, man. Your guys' production value of this magazine has gone insane. I mean, look at that. I mean, I remember when you guys, it was black and white. Even when it was black and white, I thought your quality was great. But damn, they just really stepping it up a notch. Look at this. James Corbett, boys. James Corbett.
Genuinely cutting. But also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
The future. The final frontier. It has never been so uncertain as now. AI, VR, haptic wear, nanotechnology, mass destruction with a remote click. Now we are finally seeing the true potential and dangers of an ever-connected and overly policed hyper-technological world. Have we finally become the architect of our own demise? Is there still hope? Welcome to the future. Welcome to Punk Droid.
What is Path of the Pale Rider anyway? Is it a comic book? No, that's not it. Is it this? What the heck is Path of the Pale Rider, man? There's no way this is right. How about this? I have no idea.
We can rob a bank.
Oh, it's this.
The Madness Comic Network and comic-related madness proudly presents Madness Tuesday Morning Brew. Tune in to our content on Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt on YouTube.
Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, and I'm glitching in and out of existence on this on this morning. Oh man, welcome to the Brew. I am your hostess with the hottest coffee around, Laurie Calcaterra, writer creator of Path of the Pale Rider. And let me tell you, it's going to be a 2-pot coffee kind of day today. Oh, Texas! I don't know what's going on, but we're getting smashed with some storms. We had a tornado go right by us on Saturday. It was just north of us. In fact, if it had been light enough, we could have seen it go by. And last night, oh, good morning, Chris. Zane, nice to see you. Good morning. Last night, we had another monster storm, and this time it went right over us. And we had winds of, 77 miles per hour? It sucked. We had water coming in from under the door because the wind was just pushing so hard. Yeah, we're okay. There wasn't any big hail last night like we saw earlier this year. But dang it, what's with the storms this year, man? I don't know. So yeah, so we were up, kids were in the closet, we were all taking shelter. So it's gonna be a 2-pot coffee day, but we'll get through, won't we? But I'm super excited. We have a great guest today. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you guys. Good morning, Doc. Yeah, man. Thank you. Whoo. It was crazy. You look outside, it was like just all the bushes were going nuts. I'll clip this later, but it was like that's what it was like. There you go. You're welcome. Path of the Pale Rider. Let me see here. Books. I think I have like 8 people left to ship. So I have 4 people with the bears. So people that got the mini Big Jameses. I sliced my finger open working on these bears. So I literally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this for you guys. There is a purple bear going out too, but there's only one. We'll see who gets it. So there's one purple bear. Those should be going out today or tomorrow. And then I'm waiting on those buttons. Those should have been shipped on Friday. So once the buttons get in, I can ship everybody everything. And we're done. We're done with fulfillment, which makes me happy. And we're moving on to issue number 5. If you have not been in the loop, we introduced Gilbert Perez as our new interior artist. He will be taking over pencils and inks. He did the lovely Lola pinup on the last campaign. And he's also worked on Waiting, which is a charter comic with Matt Chambers, who is our current colorist. So those guys have worked together and have produced amazing comics. So that was why Gilbert is now our interior artist. Marco DeFio has another project that is going to take up a majority of his time. So again, we aren't partying on, nothing happened. We're not mad at each other. It's just how business goes sometimes. And life takes you in different directions. So we're not stopping. Path of the Pale Rider will continue. We're launching issue number 5 on June the 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there so you can get some of those exclusives. The Funko Pops, there's only 5. The Singularity, there's only 1. And so far, we have one reigning champion who has gotten all of them. So we'll see if she gets dethroned this time. Please don't come for me if you get dethroned. I'm just saying. She knows where I live. What else? Oh, I have I have a secret reward that's super cool. You will love it. And I have something new that I haven't premiered yet. So a new product on top of the hot sauce and the sampler pack. So you can have not only Path of the Pale sauce, there's the heart-stopping jalapeno serrano and the Meet Your Maker mango habanero. All 3 will be available on the campaign, as well as a new t-shirt, and all of the previous t-shirts will be available for order. So we got lots of cool stuff. I haven't unveiled all the cool things yet. They're coming. We're going to build up hype as we get closer to launch like we always do. So that's what's going on Path of the Pale Rider camp. Yeah, that's how I could say that. Anyway, enough about me. Let's bring in today's guest. This gentleman's name is Justin Coke. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Yay, issue 5. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Oh, you're not getting ran over by you today, are you?
Who knows? We had a surprise storm swoop in yesterday, so it's not out of the question.
I know. This one came in like out of nowhere. It was silent, and then it just boom hit at 5 a.m. We were all awake. So it's crazy how they can do that. Ahoy, Justin! Thank you, Doc.
Hey, Doc.
Yeah. Have you been on Doc?
No, I don't think I have yet.
Oh, you could
I don't know
totally
if
go
we're
on Doc's
scheduled.
show.
He has a podcast too.
He does. It's on Wednesdays. It's part of our network. So
okay.
He's a wonderful guy, a wonderful host. He's a great guest too, because he's been on my show. But just another connection for you if you're looking to be on some more shows.
Yeah.
So Justin, I'm so excited to have you here today. And as the chat knows, we always start out with what is your origin story? We want to know what makes you tick, where you came from, how it all started. So go ahead.
Well, I mostly grew up in Southwest Missouri, which is the kind of place where if you ask if the science teachers are all creationists, or if they're not, you can make them break out into a cold sweat by asking them why we're skipping the chapter on natural selection. That kind of environment.
Okay.
You know, and then I was so that's where I'm from. Kind of, you know, was in a cult for a little bit. So that
you were in a cult?
My parents joined the Jehovah's Witnesses for about 6 years there.
Okay, so you're I have a few friends that are recovering Jehovah's Witnesses. Yes.
Yeah, it's just it's the most boring religion. I mean, it really is, but it I spent a lot of time staring at the windowless Kingdom Hall walls trying to kill time, because you're in there for like 12 hours a week, bored out of your mind. So that's kind of where my daydreaming powers come from, I think.
There you go.
I had a lot of time to kill. So and then I live in Columbia now. I'm a lawyer and just have my own little practice, and I write comics.
Ooh, what kind of law do you practice?
Personal bankruptcy mostly. It's fine. You know, I've been doing it for a long time, and it's you know, it's a good living.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily the most exciting stuff, but you know,
I'm just
curious.
Stuff when
you're a lawyer is usually awful. So
yeah. I mean, like I not for me personally, but I can see how you need a creative outlet from that, especially if you spend again all day in court staring at the windows. I'm just curious, have you seen an uptick in bankruptcies recently?
It's yeah, I mean, it's been a brutal, I mean, it's over the last 10 to 13 years, it's gone down about 50%, but it's starting to tick back up.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, with the amount of I think the car loan delinquencies are up and that kind of stuff. So it's probably going to there's probably going to be more bankruptcies next year, I would imagine.
Interesting. I was just curious because you have like kind of an inside view of things that most of us don't get to see. So I was just...
I've noticed, and I noticed this in 2008, is when you start seeing the really old junkers kind of driving around, that's a warning sign. Like when you start seeing the 30-year-old cars that you weren't seeing before.
Yeah. Good morning, Pops. Good morning. Yeah, that's because they have no other option, right? They have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where these cars are stored, but they come out when times are tight. So, and I've been seeing them out. So
I'll have to keep my eyes open for that too. Like, yeah,
if you see a Pontiac Aztek, just run away.
So okay, so that's where you got your daydreaming powers and your, you know, creative outlet. But were you reading comic books as a child or young adult, or like how did you find comics?
I loved the newspaper comic section.
Yes.
You know, and it was terrible even back then, and I figured that out pretty quickly, but I still compulsively read it. Those Archie and Jughead omnibuses they used to sell at the grocery store. I'd say Sandman was probably my first actual love in comics, though. That was the series that I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean, yeah, I was always aware of it. I did like a hand-drawn like newspaper strip in high school, which I thought was funny at the time. I'm probably glad it's gone. But I put a fair amount of effort into that back then, even though I can't draw. So it was all just like geometric shapes.
No, it's great because usually when you're a writer, you're like, I can totally draw. I can draw this, right? And we always attempt it, and then we're like, oh no, I can't.
No, it is very hard to do anything with that. And I just don't. I mean, if you're not obsessed with it, you're just not going to get there. So I'd rather just focus on what I'm good
like
at, what I get
daily
obsessed
practice.
about, and then
Yeah.
there's somebody who's good at the art, because I don't know that I have it. So
Exactly. It's not that you can't do it, but you'll have to develop that skill over time.
yeah, I don't have years to wait. So
Exactly.
just somebody.
That was me too. I was like, I got to hire somebody. Otherwise, we'll be sitting on this comic for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Hey, good morning. Hey, Keely. Welcome to the show. Okay, so you were reading, The Sandman, which is great. I still have that, the big books, the expensive one, on my Amazon list for someday. They're beautiful too. But
Yeah, I reread it recently. I mean, I still have all the, well, not the, I don't know if they're the originals, but the 90s ones. So it's kind of weird, those books, because there's all this stuff they added in, and I don't know what I'm replicating and what I'm not, but it definitely holds up, and that's kind of rare for something that came out before like 2015 to not just be riddled with
campy
horrible stuff or whatever,
Yeah.
I rewatched I went on a tear and rewatched like every episode of Psych.
Yeah.
They were
some of them are cringe, right? You watch and you're like, ooh.
Yeah, very.
Ooh.
Yeah. So no, but SWAT is it's a secret wizard assault team. And it starts out as it's a Harry Potter parody, kind of. It starts out as basically what if Harry Potter was a busted up St. Louis detective who's like about 2 years away from his pension. And that, so it's kind of What We Do in Shadows and The Wire combined. And it just becomes increasingly unhinged from the go.
That's an interesting combination. I think that's a great way to pitch, you have to put that on your Kickstarter or whatever campaign, whatever platform you use. Like if you like The Wire, Harry Potter, and In the Shadows.
Yeah, that's in the pitch document. Yeah, so we definitely use that. I mean, it's out with Image and Dark Horse and everybody. So hopefully sometime soon I'll be getting good news on that front. I mean, I think it's up for that level, but we'll see. For now we're trying to get going on the Zoop. We're doing a campaign. All you have to do at this point is sign up, and then to get notifications when it does launch, which will hopefully happen sometime this summer, according to Zoop. So,
well, before I bring up more stuff, I want to ask more questions about how it all started. You you skipped over
oh, sorry.
You're like, I did this and now you can sign up. I'm like, wait.
Sometimes I kind of ran out of stuff to say, so I just started to talk,
So, okay. So when did you come up with the idea for SWAT? At what point?
About September of 2022. It just, I don't know. I think it started with me being annoyed with J.K. Rowling because she just won't stop tweeting about, what she tweets about. And then it just hit me. Then I just started going. It was one of those lightning moments, right? There wasn't like a period of where I developed it. I just started writing, and it all started coming out. And it was really an amazing experience. Like I've been writing my entire life. I started it when I was 5, but this is the first. I can feel like I'm doing good, but this is the first time I felt like inspired with a capital I. Right? Like this was a big deal for me. Right? It was. I'm very proud of it. It's definitely the best thing I've ever written by a lot.
That's so far, right? So far. Still got time to do more.
Man. I don't know. It's been feeling. I've been done for a year, but I finished in September last year, and it still feels like that's it. It's been creatively, it's been slow since because it's just.
Well, there's still time, and of course, it's like right now you have to focus on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To get it up and running, to build your audience, to run your Zoop, all of that. You know what I mean? So this is gonna be your primary focus for a while. But then, you're gonna get to a point where it's like, I got some extra time.
Yeah.
You might be tempted to write something else.
I've been starting to feel inspired again, but I was writing the sequel to this, and one of the red flags for me when I know I'm on the wrong track is when they start shopping. Like if they're shopping for more than 2 pages, it's time to go back and figure out what I did wrong. right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where I end up. If I don't have any ideas, they just end up shopping.
No,
You know, it's so that
that's me in
happens
real life.
3 to 5 pages. You know,
Like, I'm bored, Justin. I'm gonna go on Amazon. I'll see you in a bit.
well, if I'm bored myself, the readers are definitely going to be bored with it,
Oh,
right?
no,
So,
that's not a good sign.
you know, sometimes you
Like-
just got to burn it down.
When you're like, God, my script is boring right here. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you just go back and figure out how to
Aw.
not make it suck, right? So,
Pops, we hope you feel better, dude. I'm with ya. Also, this just a reminder to everybody: if you like what we do, we have a GoFundMe going. So to support the madness, we're trying to build a Roku channel. We need to build Madness Entertainment Group. So you can always give us a look-see and donate what you can. Just because Pops put it there, I wanted to bring it up. Back to your story. So, okay, so you've written this script. Was it always intended to be a comic book, or was it just a thing? Was it a novel, a movie script, and then it was like, how did it find its way into comic book land?
Well, I used to write novels, and then, like I said, I don't know, probably I just got tired of writing novels, and I finally just was like, I'm going to write comics. I'd wanted to do it for years, but I, didn't want to pay an artist, so. And I was too cheap to pay one and too lazy to learn to draw. So it never quite happened. But I said, screw it, and just started doing it. And it hit. I mean, it's like, I feel like I finally found the thing I should have been doing the whole time. Basically, it's just, I love the imaginative freedom of it. Like, I love the audience and their willingness to go with whatever, like the more unhinged it is, the more fun they're having. It's awesome.
Funny?
Yeah. And then it's 21 pages. So it's structured and it's free at the same time. And I don't know if that just tickles my autism or what, but it really fits.
That's how I think we all are in comic book land. We're just like, it needs to be unhinged, it needs to be free flowing, but also have some structure. Like, it makes no sense what we want, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, I believe a lot in deception in writing, right? Like, so the freedom to be as weird as I want, but also have some amount of, like, you have to get a chapter done in 21 pages, right? So it's highly structured at the same time. It's completely free. And I really, really love that about it. And I think that's why it really clicked for me. I mean, writing a novel is fine, but it sort of feels like digging a swimming pool by yourself.
Really?
Whereas this is like,
Never heard someone describe it that way. That's hilarious.
well, you dig and you dig, and then your first draft's done. Now you have to reread the thing until you hate it. And so it's just it was laborious in a way that I find it just doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like work to me to write the comics. It's just fun, and I think that comes through on the page.
So, at what point did you go shopping for an artist, and how did you decide on your artist?
I think I was like 6 issues in. I've written 36. It's done, right?
Yes, that's amazing.
So early on, I contacted Rachel. I found her somebody was promoting her on a Discord for comics, and it clicked, right? I mean, it was just the exact style that I wanted for it, because it rides the line. It's comic, but it's a little serious. It rides that line really, really well. And I'm very happy with what she's been doing with it. I think she gets it. And so it's been, once she got the 6 pages done for a pitch packet, that's when we started circulating it and starting to do the campaign and stuff. So yeah, no, I mean, she's just, I saw her stuff and I'm like, this needs to happen. I almost hired somebody else, but they kept not taking my money. And then I started having doubts, and I'm like, well, let's move on.
I'm sorry. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
like, I was trying to buy your work. I was trying to.
I would have paid her, but she's like, give it a couple weeks, and for whatever reason, I'll be back in touch in a couple weeks, and she didn't, and so I'm like,
not reliable.
Yeah. So
peace out.
I'm sure. I'm sure she's lovely, but it was just I started to have doubts about the style.
You have to find the right person. You have to. And sometimes it takes a while. Like, I think it took me almost 2 years to find my artist when we did issue 1. Because same thing, like I had someone else that was working on it, and then like things, I had started right before the pandemic, and of course the pandemic took a toll and everything crashed and burned. So it's like this is part of the game. I think as an author trying to find the right person, you just got to be patient.
Yeah, I mean, well, you want three things, right? You want quality art, on time, nice to work with. If you get 2 out of those 3, okay. 1 out of 3 is rough. Sometimes you get 0 out of 3. The first guy I hired was 0 out of 3.
No.
It was bad. I mean, and that was just my fault. Like his style, I honestly looked at his stuff and I'm like, this must be a joke. This can't. He has to be able to do something else, and that's a bad sign, right?
That's
like
bad. That's bad.
Yeah, I mean, and that was not a joke. It was just his style, and I hated it so much. And he took forever to do it. It was awful.
It's hard,
you know. So you got to be very careful with who you hire. And then once you get somebody that's 3 out of 3, keep them in the stable. You know what I mean?
As long as you can.
Yeah. No.
And then you get to my point where it's like, damn it, I got to hire somebody else now. I don't want to, but you have to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, once you get somebody you can really work with, it's really nice to keep them around. So, yeah.
So you hired Rachel. And where are we in the timeline? What year are we?
When I hired her?
Yeah.
December of 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and then it took a while to get the pages and get moving, but we started, submitting it basically this January. So this is when we started moving forward with it.
So is the book done?
I have written everything. She has not drawn everything. We're still progressing on issue 1 slowly. So we're probably 30%, 33% or more all the way done there. But that's it as far as completed comics go. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Hey guys, let's take a look. I have a nice video that was provided for SWAT. So let's take a look. Ready? I'll push play. There we go. Here, I'm going to make it big.
I think the sound's wrong.
It's not the right sound?
Well, there should be vocals and a police siren happening, and you can barely hear it. It's not
let me see here. I have the sound turned all the way up.
The leaders of SWAT had a choice. Fire someone or an elaborate plan. Even though they hated.
Can you hear it okay?
No. I mean,
the
rest of the audience can hear it. That's all that matters. But
can you guys hear it? Okay, let me know in the chat if the sound is coming through. Because I downloaded it to my computer. Let me see if I can. Depends on what format it's in. I might be able to upload it into the studio and try it that way. Let's try that, guys. Give me 1 second. Don't mind us. Technical difficulties. It's always fun. It's MP4. Should work. Let's try it. Open. Whoops. So it's too big. Dang it. Put it in the present. Okay. Video file. We'll try this way. We have to pivot. Is that better?
Yeah, that's way better.
All right.
A few months ago, the St. Louis Budget Committee decided to cut spending. They had already cut the library and the schools and band and shop and English, public transportation, healthcare, housing, sewage, and roads. Did I miss anything? Anyway, the leaders of SWAT had a choice. Fire someone or come up with an elaborate plan to make themselves indispensable, even though they hate it here. The plan, well, it goes about as badly as it possibly could.
Totally looks like Harry Potter.
March 16th, 2022. In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are not their stories. These are not their stories at all. This is the story about the cops other cops don't know even exist. They aren't the guys who deal with rapists and pedophiles. They deal with the stuff that would give those special victim knobs the screaming purple Henrys. This is the Secret Wizard Assault Team.
Dun dun.
There you go.
I said it. Amazing.
Like,
hilarious too. Now it was Jeff Haas sent me some of the scripts, which I just had a few moments to look over them just because with everything going on with Memorial Day and the storms. But can you say the name of the city in Wales?
I googled this and it basically sounds like it's in Klingon. It's like, I mean, it really is. I mean, none of those letters have anything to do with how it's actually pronounced. But yeah, if you want to Google how to pronounce Landfair Pigglewiggle or whatever it is, there's videos.
I was like, I don't know if he's like, Mick, is this real? This can't be real. And he's like, it's real.
No. You can't make something up like that. Right?
I guess not.
Yeah.
But you probably could, and no one would know because the names out there in Wales is like, I'm sorry, there's 27 consonants in that name.
Yeah. So
and like one vowel. How does that even work?
It doesn't. It sounds like Klingon when you when they pronounce it.
So the story itself, you kind of mentioned what it was like. It's like The Wire. What else? It's like The Wire meets
Shadows. I mean, it's like, for instance, okay, so there's just a few of the characters. There's Hermes, who's a 3,000-year-old wizard who is very senile, but he won't retire. Just won't retire. And then there's Mabelina, who is she thinks she's a fake psychic, but she actually is psychic in that she is always attracted to the worst possible decision. That was based off a lady I represented who had been buying allergy pills to make into meth, and she just had an unholy ability to find the exact thing to not say and then say it, right? Just honed in on it, like worst thing you possibly said in that scenario, bam, every time. I didn't let her talk at her sentencing because I was afraid she'd like try to take credit for 9/11 or something, you know, like it's so,
like, Your Honor, she doesn't know what she's saying.
I mean, you know, yeah. So she definitely had some sort of
I relate to her.
Yeah, some problem where, I mean, she must have been pretty smart because she honed in on the exact thing not to say. It's just she lacked that ability, that part of her brain that goes, no, don't do that.
Like some weird, like, don't do it. Is it like
brain,
OCD almost, where they're like, you know, I have to do it.
I think, yeah, something like that. Like normally you're like, I shouldn't say the F word in front of the Archbishop, and she says, let's do it.
Yeah.
You know. So and then there's Tiny Tim, who's about yay tall, and he is their black bag guy, and he literally has a black bag that he reaches into an infinite warehouse and can pull out whatever he needs at any given moment.
Cool.
That's an innovation that really took over the story because I kind of made a commitment to actually follow through on the insane logic of the magic, right? So
yeah,
once I had that in there, it really took over because it was way more powerful than I thought it would be, right? So
a bag of holding.
Yeah.
There's also a correlation to Harry Potter because Hermione had a bag like that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a common thing. Specifically, I mean, honestly, it's more of a reference to the Venture Brothers. I don't know if you remember.
Venture Brothers had one.
Dr. Killinger's magic murder bag. But yeah, so that's Venture Brothers is a huge influence on SWAT as well. I've been a fan of that show since like the second season, so at least half my life.
Yeah.
And you had so yeah, there's a lot of references there to it. I think, you know, little Aqua Teen Hunger Force in there as well.
Yes.
But
the meatball is my favorite.
I wish I could do a decent meatball impersonation. I would get a lot of mileage out of that.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
The things we do for our fans. Trust me, I know. So that's the team. Wait, let me share this one. Remove this. Nope. Sorry. Pushing all the buttons again. This one. There we go. Here's the Zoop. Where are we on that one? There we go. Sorry, Justin.
No, you're good.
Sometimes you just gotta push all the buttons. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to see if I could.
All we need right now is for people to put their email address in there and click get notified. So that's all we need right now. It is shockingly hard to get traction. I mean, there's a million of these going, and so it's it just any help at all would be great. Basically, they're looking for proof that people are interested in the series, right? So that's basically fine. So yeah, there you go.
Does Zoop show you how many people are signed up?
I have to ask.
Oh.
I mean, I God bless, but I feel like the whole email address thing's very 1999, but it's what they got. So just put it in and hit get notified, please.
Yeah, and I mean that's always great with the first issue. Because you can have people sign up for as long as you want, and then when you're ready to launch, you just launch.
Yeah.
And then everybody gets a mass email that says, hey, this is live now, go check it out. So it's always a good reminder.
Yeah.
Do you have things planned for the Zoop? Like, what are some of the things that people can expect on the campaign?
Well, I mean, that's still a little bit up in the air, but obviously we'll have print versions of the issue.
Yeah.
We'll have Rachel will be doing custom sketches for people. They can either have pages of the art, I think, or draw whatever they want her to draw. And we'll probably add a couple of other things in there as well. But I mean, it's pretty bare bones at this point. We just have one issue, right? So
yeah. There is a question from the chat. From Pops Van Zant. He says, our people have historically not done well on Zoop, but what made you decide on that platform for your campaign? We're just curious.
Well, I like the fact that it's an independent comic only. I guess I was afraid of getting lost in the shuffle over at Kickstarter where there's just so much stuff going on. And I mean, Zoop does have its success rate's like around 90%, I think. I mean, they, when they launch, they tend to get funded. It has been a bit of a struggle to get energy going on Zoop. I mean, I think Colin Bunn said he had a hard time getting going as well, but it's they've been nice to me. I like the fact that it's a curated thing and that they're handling the website and stuff like that. So those would be the main benefits.
Don't they, like, you send them the images and they build it for you?
Yeah. And it's been a long time since I was building my GeoCities page, so my HTML is a little weak. So it seemed like a nice option. So
do you have a launch date in mind, or just sometime this summer, just depending on?
This summer is as close as I can get it at this point. The more people sign up, the faster it's going to launch, basically, is what it comes down to at this point.
And what's the number you're looking for?
They won't quite tell me, but more. So
it's like you should probably have an idea. Like, do I need to get to 100, 200, 500? What's the goal here?
I mean, I've been told by other people that 50 to 100 is where they're going to be comfortable. So we're getting there, but okay. I'll look at that.
Did you check out Fund My Comic? I'm just curious.
I hadn't heard of that, but I will definitely take a look at it.
Yeah, that's another great one. They just do comics as well, and they are curated like Zoop, where you talk to a person. There's people involved. You know what I mean? They also have a podcast, so they'll promote your stuff for you as well.
Oh, that'd be, yeah.
So, yeah, and I think they're. This is something that we were talking about when Fund My Comic came out. where they take less of a percentage than like Kickstarter, because Kickstarter is like, I think 5%, and then their credit card processing is close to 5%, and I think Fund My Comic is like 3. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pops, because Pops is more familiar. I still run on Kickstarter just because that's where my fan base is, but I mean, yeah, he says 3%. So it's just something to consider. I mean, I ran an Indiegogo just to try them out. I wasn't very happy with Indiegogo. I have not run a Zoop. I wasn't, I don't know. I thought like Kickstarter and Indiegogo were kind of the big two. I have also not tried Fund My Comic. So, but it's great to watch what other people do there and learn, because I'm still learning. You know what I mean? I'm still learning, and I'm watching, and I'm always open for suggestions. So, we'll be watching your Zoop.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Is, I mean, this is the first time I've done anything like this, and so, yeah, there's a learning element to it, right? And I try to take it like that. You know, when I get stuck on a podcast that has 3 viewers total for an hour, and then the host doesn't even sign up, you know, it's that kind of thing. You just take it as a learning experience and try to not get irritated.
Well, and I mean, I think it's a numbers game. It's just like any sales. Like I've done sales, like corporate sales, right? And it's the same. It's just a numbers game. And the more people you talk to, the more you'll get no's. You'll get a majority of no's, but you'll also get more yeses with the more people you talk to. And the goal is, of course, to find your audience and to find the people that are really into what you do. And they're out there. And the more you talk and the longer, like over time that you talk, people will come. There's an audience for everybody. So it'll happen.
I mean, it's Harry Potter as a busted up detective. It sells, right? Like it's not the concept. It's just I kind of just do not have the social media bone. I mean, I would much rather do this and just talk than mess around on Twitter or Threads and trying to network. I just don't know how to do it. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I love arguing with idiots online. That's my favorite internet.
You're one of those.
Yeah.
All right, Justin, I'm going to summon you when the trolls show up, because I hate that part.
Yeah, the XKCD about the guy who's like, there's somebody wrong on the internet. That's definitely, I try not to do that as much as I used to, but that is 100% me.
Be like, Justin, come argue with this idiot. He's driving me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I love doing it. It's a bad habit. Really been trying to cut back on the internet as a whole, right? Because I keep thinking, you can spend 40 hours on Facebook a month, right? But people wouldn't pay $5 for it.
This is true. I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because social media is free marketing, right? And you can reach an audience, but only the audience that the algorithm lets you reach. So we're always trying to outsmart, the algorithm is the hard part. But what do you think about like going to Comic-Cons and bookstores? What do you think about doing stuff? I mean, once you have a physical book, that's what I recommend.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you got to go. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to. I think I would be pretty good at, certainly the bookstore stuff and the Comic-Cons. That triggers my social anxiety a little bit, but I can probably handle it, But I mean, that's the kind of real world stuff that matters.
Yeah, but I think it's different when you get to talk about something that you're passionate about. So it's not like people are going to be grilling you about physics or politics, dear God. Yeah. But it's like you get to talk about your story that you've been crafting. I think
no, I mean, I think that would be a great. I look forward to that. But obviously, you can't just show up and be like, hey,
I have a book, imaginary book. Right.
I rented this table for you to sign up for an email. There, but I mean, I was always kind of I guess I felt like as far as actually going to something like that by myself, it just seems kind of lonely, right? But hopefully as I network around, I'll have actual connections to talk to.
Yeah.
So
and I think as someone who's new in indie, that's a really great tool to utilize is the community itself, because we love to support our fellow indie creators. promote them on social media, boost your posts, beat the algorithm, but also like find people in your area, right? So you can go to cons together and you can, just have a good time if it's slow. And you always have to, when you go to a Comic-Con, it's almost like if it's busy, then you're making money. If it's slow, you're making connections because everybody there is trying to do the same thing as you. You could either learn from how they set up their table to, oh, you're an artist. Maybe you can do a variant cover for us at one point, stuff like that. So there's always connections to be made.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to try that. I mean, I live in, I could probably hit up St. Louis and Kansas City pretty easily. No problem.
Yes. We have a Facebook group, YouTube channel. We post everything to Twitter. Yeah. So you're on all those right now,
Awesome.
Which is amazing. Yeah, but definitely join the group because you can post there every day and promote your stuff. That's a great way to be found.
I'll do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, what is Devil's? Hey, Devil's Air. Also, oh, he's talking to me. Thinking my comics are coming in soon, maybe next week, but they said till Friday. Gosh, your mail is so slow out there. Poor Devil's Air. All he wants is his comic books. They're coming. They're coming. What's that?
Post office has been in trouble for a while. Yeah, it's gonna take a while.
Yeah. Well, where are you? You're in Denmark, right, Devil's Air? So he's international. So on top of that, yeah.
What's the shipping to Denmark?
Huh?
What's the shipping to Denmark for a comic?
I don't know. My publisher does the international shipping. Thank God. Because I was like, I don't want to do this. That was the first time I offered international shipping was on the trade paperback we did because we picked up a publisher, an international shipper. So, you're in the Netherlands. I'm so sorry. I was like, you're out there somewhere in space.
They're pretty close. Yes. Yeah.
We encourage everyone to drop their link at least once a day in the Facebook Madness group. Yeah. Unless you're me and you get swamped by 80 million things and sick kids and tornadoes.
Yeah. Every day seems like a lot, but yeah. No, it's probably for the best. But yeah, it's been an experience. I mean, I still, even with the challenges involved with doing comics, I like it a lot better than prose publishing, where you're basically.
Well, what are some of the challenges that you are facing right now? Like, what are some of the things that you? Yeah, that's Texas, baby. Thanks.
Well, I mean, finding the artists, getting them paid, getting them kind of managing them because it can take a little bit of work. We covered that a little bit earlier. Yeah. Was that on tape? The whole discussion about artists and the three things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. So and then working as a team is harder sometimes, but it's also kind of nice in that you're not the only person working on the project or thinking about the project, so you have somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
But it just feels a lot less. I feel more like a entrepreneur in this space rather than sort of pathetically begging for attention in prose. It's rough, man. I mean, they do all you have all these magazines that barely exist, and they go, no simultaneous submissions. We'll take 6 months to decide, and don't ask if we don't respond after 6 months. And that's common, right? There's no respect for writers going on in that space because there's 10 million of us, and they know that we're completely disposable. So unless you're already successful, they just treat you like you're disposable. And I really hate that.
I mean, I can 100% understand. That's why I'm chuckling to myself because I'm having PTSD over here. I posted this meme where it was like the artist that was like, wow, man, I'm only getting paid $100 a page. And the colorist is like, you get 100. I only get, like 40. And then the letterer is like, you guys get that much? I get like $10, $15. And then the writer's like, y'all are getting paid.
No, I mean, that's how it is. I mean, I honestly it's like, I think once if a comic's successful, everyone's like, why isn't the artist getting a cut? But a lot of the time the artist doesn't want a cut because that involves not getting paid as much, and they want cash now because that's usually the safe bet, right?
Well, yeah, because there's no guarantee that the comic is going to do well.
Right.
And you see it in these groups all the time where people are like, hey, I'm looking for a partner, or hey, I'm looking to split 50-50. And people are like, 50% of 0 is still 0.
Yeah.
You know, it's too risky. So they want that upfront page rate, like you said, because then they're paid, and it doesn't matter how great the comic book does or doesn't. It's on the creator to promote it.
Yeah.
So,
you know, so that's part of it. And I mean, it makes sense, right, that you would want money now, right? Because I mean, that's definitely the safe bet. But I guess I feel like once it's successful, sometimes people resent that the artist didn't get a cut. You know what I mean? But anyway.
No, I don't think so. Not so much in this community. They understand that the artist wants the page rate. Because again, they could, if you get to the point where you get royalties, then they can be cut into the royalties. But that should all be discussed prior to.
Yeah.
But that's typical. That's typical. People just get page rate because again, we're not getting paid. The only reason I get any money is through royalties, and it's not that much.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, I can give you 40 cents, guys. Woo.
I eagerly await the day when I get minimum wage for writing. That was, you know,
right. I got paid. Woo.
Oh
goodness.
Juice. Yeah. In my 30s, I got 2 novels published. Kind of. I mean, they in the lowest possible way involving me getting money, and I think total I could cover 1 electric bill out of the whole thing. So,
do you still get royalties from your novels?
Oh no, I turned them off. They're not for sale anymore.
Okay.
I kind of became embarrassed of them.
You
know, they're not.
Why?
Well, I was in the middle of the quality was. I feel like my quality as a writer has gone up substantially since then. So I, just turned them off because also, $3 a quarter. Wow. Or what have you. So
better than nothing.
Yeah.
It just makes me, this is always a discussion that comes up for me as well, because when we produced our first issue, it was black and white because that's all we could afford. And then as we started to grow and then we went into our trade paperback, we remastered issue number 1 and people are like, why would you do that? People have an appreciation for where you started. It's kind of like Superman, Action Comics number 1 has never been remastered. It's still that campy Superman feel, but that's what people want. And I was like, well, we had always intended to do issue 1 in color. And then when you put it in the trade paperback, it would be weird to have like 24 pages in black and white and then the rest were in color. So that was our intention. But that's always a discussion, like, why go backwards and remaster when people appreciate the journey? Would you ever do that? Would you ever see, you say this now because you're thinking now about your comic that isn't finished, but like 5 years from now, this issue number 1 is going to feel the same way. Where it's like, gosh, I wish I could have done this better.
Well,
natural progression.
I don't think that your scenario of we did the first issue in black and white for financial reasons, that's fine. I definitely wouldn't go back and like tweak the first issue. I really hate the special editions of Star Wars. Like,
where they remastered the whole
movie. We added Jabba the Hutt and it looks like it was rendered on a Commodore 64. It was bizarre choice. If it's worked, if it's as big as I hope it is, and it comes off the way it is, I hope it will. No, I wouldn't change anything about it, even if it was a flaw, because that's the kind of thing that if you stick the ending, if you have a Lord of the Rings where you have like 3 climaxes at the end, they will forgive anything. They only start nitpicking once you botch the ending, like with Game of Thrones or Star Wars. Because that's how that works. I think the fans aren't, when they complain about Jar Jar Binks, they're actually saying the story structure sucks. When it gets really bitter and hateful, they're trying to express complaints about story structure that they don't quite understand. I think
that's interesting. Star Wars fans are just bitter, though.
Well, it's been a long time since there was a great one.
There was good anything, right? Mandalorian season 1.
Yeah, I mean, Mandalorian's fun, but I mean, it's not. Anyway, I don't know.
That's a whole nother topic maybe we will go into.
Yeah, I don't want to. Oh,
You're fine. You're fine.
The 40-year-olds complaining about the prequels. Yay. It's been 25 years. It's time to move on.
But I think you touched upon something about story writing. And I think you and I are in the same boat because I have 36 issues in my series as well. And I think that when there is an ending already in mind, then each issue works towards that ending. That, to me, that's good story writing because there's no fluff and everything is being set up for that payoff, that, the fan payoff. And that's what I think you were saying. Like when you get to the end and that climax hits correctly, then people are happy. But if you're writing for Lost, you know what I mean? If you're writing for Dexter, where they didn't have any idea how they were going to end the series.
Yeah.
They just ended it. It was junk. Right?
Yeah, I never got into Lost because I could tell that they had no idea what the plan was, and smoke monsters and bears, and it was just
like, why are we in a zoo right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those shows. Going back to 20-year-old TV, it looks like with Prison Break. Do you remember that?
Yeah, season 1 was great, and then after that, they're like, they're back in prison. I'm like, wait, what?
You can't call it Prison Break and set a hard deadline at the end of season 1 to break out of prison and then have a season 2. That's a miniseries.
Like, it's Prison Break, but we're on the run, so you're not in prison. And then they're back in prison in season 3, and I'm like, I can't watch anymore. Gotta break out of prison again.
Yeah, that show. But no, I mean, going back to Lord of the Rings, right? Like if Frodo had just taken the ring and become a new Sauron, you'd be mad that Legolas was snowboarding up that elephant. I'm serious.
He snowboarded all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, there are things to complain about in those movies, but you don't care because you had a happy ending. You had a satisfying ending, and so you let all the stuff go that might otherwise have infuriated you. But if you don't get that, then you're still mad about, Jar Jar Binks or whatever, right?
So what do you do when you're writing that, you know what I mean? Like to satisfy the reader, you know what I mean? Like, how are you aiming to craft that story? Like Lord of the Rings versus.
I believe in deception. I basically want the reader to not understand. I want them to think they know what's happening, and then it turns out that's not what's happening in a way that is sort of vertigo inducing. Cool. And so that way, because I feel like basically the big challenge of writing today is getting the audience to get past the emotional callus they built up from watching so many stories their entire life, right? Because you get to the point where you can call it. You're like, okay, she's going to betray them, and you get to the point where you can just call the plot, and people, it's hard to get emotionally involved with that. So if you are lying to them, then like with Game of Thrones, right? The genius of Game of Thrones is they spent like 2 or 3 books tricking you about who the protagonist was, right? They lead you into Ned Stark. He's 5 out of 10 Keanu's, but he's a little too old. He's a little too successful, but he's dumb and he's good with a sword. So great. They brutally murder him. Season 2, Robb Stark.
You said 5 out of 10 Keanu's.
That's my rating. Yeah, I have a rating system. So Robb Stark's like 8 out of 10 Keanu's. He's young. He's got a murdered father to avenge. He's got a throne to take back. Brutally murder him and his entire family in a grotesque violation of hospitality. And now you have no idea what's going on. And then they slow play you into Jon Snow, the corniest fantasy protagonist of all time. The orphan who, through a bizarre series of events, is secretly the rightful king. I mean, Jeffrey Chaucer. Oh my God, guys, let's do something different. So the patience to spend like 40% of the series just screwing with the reader's head,
it still follows that orphan from it's like the underdog trope. He's just George R.R. Martin took us through this corn maze to get there.
That's the genius of it, is that he took you into being emotionally involved in the corniest fantasy story possible, and people don't even realize it. And that's the genius.
He had us all when he killed Ned Stark, because we're like, there's gonna be a way he gets out of it, and we're like, okay, we don't know what's going to happen,
because you thought he was actually the protagonist, but he wasn't. Right? So it was really slick, and he didn't even immediately jump to Jon Snow. Like, he played with the other kids for a while. I mean, he really hit it. It was great. So
okay, Devil's Hair likes to rock the boat, so if he says something to kind of shake the chat up, he does that. but we love him anyway.
Well, I mean, the sequel trilogy, the problem with that is nobody knew what they were doing at any point.
No.
It's just, and then the next movie was a reaction to how they screwed up the previous movie, and there was just no plan at all.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, this third movie fixes everything," and then it was just terrible.
Rise of Skywalker is, I don't know. I think that honestly was the end. That was the point at which I'm like, I'm just not anymore. I'm not going to even watch it on Netflix. I'm just done. It was pathetic. But anyway,
Justin, I like you.
Thank you. But
we could talk about nerd culture. That'd be great.
Yeah. So no, that was that's the thing with the Star Wars. I mean, basically the original trilogy worked because it was a tragedy. They knew it. They embraced it. Prequels didn't work because it was a tragedy and they hated it and they pulled the teeth of it every chance they got. Right. That's the problem. It hit all the notes. He knew what he was doing. He just hated it and it was begrudging. Right. And then the sequel trilogy, they had absolutely no clue at all. So.
No.
Yeah.
But at that point, Disney was like, how many Star Wars things can we make that people will watch? Because then it was Rogue One, and then there was the Han Solo movie, and then, and then didn't they end up like canceling things because they weren't doing well? Like they canceled the Han Solo movie was supposed to get a sequel. Nah.
Yeah, I think there was supposed to be a bunch of side spinoffs that ended up getting shut down.
It was too much. It was too much. Like, we don't need to see the backstory of Lando Calrissian. We don't care.
I've said for years they should just recast Luke Skywalker and then just have him do 80s action movies, but with Jedi.
Yeah.
Right.
And with Sebastian Stan, who looks exactly like.
Yeah. You could just do like a Die Hard where a Jedi gets trapped in a tower without his lightsaber and he has to like survive a day with a Sith running around or whatever. Just word for word remakes of Die Hard, but in a sci-fi setting. Fourth best Star Wars movie.
That would be hilarious. That or Top Gun. Let's do a Top Gun Star Wars. I would watch that. I would watch it.
Yeah. You could have a really gay volleyball scene with aliens. It'd be great.
Disney would be all over that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm sad about Furiosa. I haven't seen it yet. I've heard great things, but it's not doing that well in the box office.
Yeah. I was just thinking that too. I also have plans to see it. I was kind of on the fence, and some of my nerd friends have seen it, and I was just like, "What did you think?" Because I love Mad Max. I live in apocalypse land, right? Because that's what I write. And I watched Mad Max when I was a kid with my dad. Like Thunderdome and Tina Turner. And when Fury Road came out, I watched it probably 3 times. It's just I loved it. You know what I mean? And when I'm like, they're going to make a movie about Furiosa, like, why? Why do we need to go back and see? So I was I'm like, is this a money grab? Is this, because a lot of times we see movies that are like male centric and they're like, no, we have a female character that you can focus on. But why? Like, if it's not going to make the story better, just, don't interchange the main character for female. I don't buy that. Like,
well, I don't. I mean, I liked her enough as a character to think that she, kind of earned a movie. I might have kept Tom Hardy around, or whatever. That would probably be the safest bet, would just to have, it's a Mad Max movie, so have Max in it. But I don't know. I just love Fury Road so much. It's probably one of the only movies I've seen twice in the theater, and then I watch it, every 6 months or so. It's kind of up there with like the Terminator 2 and Aliens, in that tier of just like fun action movie.
Yeah. But it's Frank Miller who is doing Furiosa. So I was like, okay, but it's his baby and it's his world that we're walking around in. He didn't take a big check and let someone else take over. So that's why, I'm like, okay. And then when my nerd friends who have seen it are like, it's really good. You would enjoy it. Cinematography is great. Story's wild, and then they do a lot of practical stunts, which I love. I used to do stunts, and I used to, I was on a fight team, and I used to choreograph fight scenes.
Oh, okay.
So that I'm all about the practical stunts. So I was like, okay, maybe I will see it. But why is it that this year it's like Memorial Weekend, nobody wants to go? I don't know. Is it the weather? Is it the fact that going to the movies costs $60 for 2 people?
Well, there's definitely that. I don't know. I mean, that Fall Guy movie that came out a couple weeks ago.
Didn't see it.
I didn't see it either. I thought, in all seriousness, my natural instinct was to think that it was a Fall Guys video game movie, which I don't know if you know that game, but basically it's a bunch of minions running around obstacle courses. I assumed that was a Fall Guys branded movie. So it didn't even occur to me to look into it because I just like, and that's where we're at with Hollywood, is I just think everybody just expects everything to be kind of crap at this point, and it's hard to get motivated to go spend a bazillion dollars.
Yeah.
See, and
I think part of it was the writer strike, because nothing was being made. It was only stuff that had already been completed already, then it was finished. But there's a lot of stuff that just got shelved because the writers were like, nope, we're not doing it. So that was, it's always a concern. And then I was watching something else where they were like, well, we're so used to watching things on our phone and at home at this point because of the pandemic, that's our new kind of culture, is we wait for it to come to streaming.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that. I mean, I used to have parties, right, pre-pandemic at my house. I've done one in the last 4 years, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Just got so out of the habit of having people over. I don't make nearly as many road trips as I used to because, you just got out of the habit of visiting people. So I think that's definitely an impact, because it's kind of like not caring about sports, right? Once you stop, you realize how much time it frees up, right?
I've never cared about sports.
Yeah, I mean, I was into baseball and soccer for a few years, but then I had my kid, and it was like I can either write or continue to track international soccer.
One's got to go.
Yeah, so figured the soccer could go first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I did have another question about your story. So you have a large group of characters.
Mm-hmm.
Do you consider them all main characters? And then how do you structure your story? Do we get like one issue where it's focused on one character? Do you introduce them all at once? You know what I mean? Like, do they go on side missions where some of them are together and some of them are not? Like, I wanted to, because that's hard to write, is a big group like that, and to get people emotionally attached right in the beginning, because when there's a lot of people. So tell me how you went through that.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, yeah, I mean, they do have their side adventures where, but Larry and Mimi are the two main characters. The everyone else is kind of on tier 2, but they're still really important. And yeah, they kind of team up and alternate and go out and do, the great thing with a police thing is you always can just send them out to investigate a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or there's always a quest that they can be doing. So sometimes they're a team, sometimes they alternate, sometimes, we mix them up, like Lisa and Mimi go out in the first issue to go investigate one thing. And then, Maybelline and Tiny Tim go handle this, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
it is hard, but I mean, it goes with my whole deception strategy of,
who's the main character?
Well, I mean, that's not that much in doubt, but okay. I mean, any given storyline might just, wrap up and be done, or it might turn into an insanely violent, unhinged nightmare. You never know. You're going to have to buy it to find out. Do you drink the tears of your readers? Just kidding. I cut my teeth storytelling wise doing a game mastering back in the 90s.
Yeah,
it was just my group, but they really loved messing with me. I think that was just in general, like the players like to mess with the game master, so I've kind of learned how to play with people, I guess.
How to mess with them back.
Yeah. Or that clever thing, I'm going to turn that around on you, that you did, or something.
You might regret that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah, I find the group dynamic can be fun when it's done right. People have to be emotionally attached. Are you going to kill off any of these characters? I'm just curious.
Well, I can't.
No spoilers. You don't have to tell us. I'll just.
But I mean, the idea, kind of what I felt like with them is I want them to basically be a team of people that actually like each other, because I feel like there's enough sort of it's easy to write kind of mean-spirited jerks being jerks to each other because they're jerks and they're kind of funny. But I mean, this is basically a group of people that really they're funny. They can be weird, but there's definitely like an emotional core to the group that I hopefully managed to convey, where they genuinely care about each other. You know, so
something that we have not mentioned is antagonist. Do we have a main bad guy?
Of them.
There's what?
There's a lot of them. For the first arc, basically they decide to create a red ball, right, to avoid having to lay off somebody. So they call in a tip on this vampire that they know has a bunch of bodies in his yard, right? So then they end up pursuing that vampire, and that's basically the plot of the first arc. And then that's spirals because they're interfering with something that they don't understand when they get involved. That's sort of the consequences of this decision sort of spiral into an increasingly unhinged, chaos. So that's the first one. Another villain is Count von Zollen, who is a goblin / accountant / pirate who sails around the oceans auditing people and stealing.
That's hilarious.
Stuff. Yeah, he's a fun character. There's Patton, who is an insane game master who murdered his other group.
Are you living out a fantasy with that one? You're like, God, I wish I could just shut
I mean, basically, yeah. That was
kidding. I'm kidding.
But his players are messing with him, and he just snaps and strangles them all. So he's in one. So there's a whole cast of characters. Like I said before, the completely unlimited nature of comics is a lot of fun because I'm constantly doing stuff where if this was in a book, you wouldn't go for it. It'd just be too weird. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, it's all deception. So, there's no way you're going to guess where you end up in issue 36 in issue 1 or issue 6 or issue 18. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Gotta love a good journey. I do.
Honestly, I don't want to talk about how much I believe in it because I'm going to sound insane, but
I just want to remind people that you can sign up on Zoop. Here is the link. Here's what it looks like. You can go drop your email in the little box, and campaign's not live. All you're doing is saying, hey, notify me when this goes live. So there's no commitment. It's just a great way to get involved. And then when the campaign goes up, you can go shopping, go check it out. We played a video earlier. So if you didn't catch the beginning part of the show, you can go back and watch the video of SWAT. It looks amazing. Harry Potter meets The Wire and What We Do in the Shadows. So what a combination, right? That's crazy.
It's a lot of fun. I think
fun with some twists, some comedy, some just hilarity going on, just from what I can tell.
It's going to be hard to plug into one genre. I mean, it's all over the place. It's kind of my autobiography in a completely insane way.
That makes it even funnier. Are you kidding me? Which character are you? Are you the bad guy, the good guy? Just kidding.
It's hard to explain. It's just it's a very personal. There's a lot of elements to it that are kind of come from their bizarre versions of my life, I guess. So it's a very personal story for me. I
mean, most good writers put a bit of themselves in the story, so
you kind of have to.
You have to. Honestly. If you're drawing from emotion, something that resonates with you or traumatizes you. For me, it's bears. Traumatized by bears, so I got bears in mind.
Oh, okay.
Has anybody talked to you about the joys of campaigning?
No.
Yeah, I have a video for you. This is a fan favorite. Ready? It feels like this.
Hold on. I think I'm bleeding. Am I bleeding? Ah! 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 Nose and lips. Okay. Ow. Ah! Can Ow! 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 Wait! Ow! 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 Please, Mr. Hood. Oh!
That's accurate.
I love that video. And anytime anybody is campaigning, I'm like, this. And then we just all have a good laugh together because it's like,
it's been
no one else really understands it except for people that go through it. So,
yeah, it's a passion project. If it wasn't, it wouldn't happen. I mean, it's, it can be pretty frustrating, but, we're getting there and we've made some progress, and these podcasts are really helping. So everybody put your emails in and
yeah,
I'd appreciate it.
So do you, I'm not familiar with Zoop's setup. Do you have to do like, well, you have your video, but do you have to build like reward tiers? Like, how does it all, you got to do the same exact thing?
Yeah. I mean, basically there's a spreadsheet where you pick your tiers and you do all that. And then you provide the art. They're supposed to make the website or the launch page themselves with that material. But yeah, I made that movie myself in iMovie. I'm sure, it didn't look that professional, but I just did that for fun. I don't even know if maybe they did ask for that. Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah. I was like, usually they should, because usually on most platforms where they have a banner and then you push play and it plays like an intro video and then.
Yeah, that was actually. Yeah, so it's been, most of that's ready. I think we're probably going to take another look at the reward tiers to spice that up a little bit before we launch. But at this point, I just want to get to the point where we're going to launch before I worry about that.
Yeah. My fans love weird stuff.
Well, you're going to love this. I mean,
yeah.
What
you got?
There's a, well, no, I'm in SWAT, but there's a lot of, it takes a lot of the tropes of, that we've kind of absorbed in pop culture. Like there's a lot of 80s B movie in there, but everything's just a little bit different. There's a lot of twists where you're going to be surprised at changes in the lore that I think will make things pretty interesting. So if you're looking for a weird adventure into space and time, sign up.
Well, sign up anyway. Yeah. and then when it launches, that's always the best is go check it out and see how it has evolved and what's available, because it's probably more than just comics. The tricky part is to figure out the merch, how you can take like that quirky feel that you have and turn it into merch that your followers will like. Mine like hot sauce. It just kind of happened. So we have hot sauce on our campaign, which is
so you like put a picture, a drawing from the comic on the label, basically, or
that's how it started. Because a buddy of mine that was in the chat named Chris Brown, he's a outdoorsman and he does hot sauce. And so he had asked, he's like, hey, hold on, was that you or me?
That was me. Sorry.
Okay. I was like, because we're still under like tornado watch. I was like, do I have to shelter?
No, my dog.
No, I'm good.
So
anyway, he was doing hot sauce and he was like, can I use your undead bear on our label? And I was like, sure. But I want to get, like, in return, I want 2 bottles. Like, I want one for me and one for my dad, right? And so I posted it on social media, like, look what I got. And everybody's like, how do I get one? And I was like, oh, I guess I'm making hot sauce. So that's how it all started. You know what I mean? And then I put it on a campaign and now I have 3 hot sauces and we're doing a sampler pack on the next issue. It's nuts. So but it's,
you make the hot sauce yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Which is, it's fun. I like doing it. I get to play around with different flavors and I get to decide, and I design all the labels myself, et cetera, et cetera. So
I've been trying to replicate the buffalo sauce recipe of this wings place near me for years, and I finally figured it out.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it actually wasn't, I was contemplating corporate espionage and just paying someone to tell me what the recipe is, but I got there. It was actually, there's this wings restaurant in Columbia called CJ's, which is just, I mean, they have great wings. Everything else about it is a dump. It's horrible, right?
Go get the wings, everybody. Not
the wings are awesome, but everything else is, so I'm like, there's no way there's like a chef back there making some sort of super complicated buffalo sauce. It's just got to be Frank's Red Hot and a stick of butter.
Probably.
Pretty much what it is. So,
Yeah. Fun times.
do that.
So it's like you got to figure out that quirkiness that your people like. Like
Yeah.
I've heard people do socks. I have a buddy that does he does really like wild out there fantasy, and he writes music for it. And then he has one that they handcraft leather masks, which is nuts, but people get those. I do Funko Pops. My friend Corissa Grant, she does plushies, and it's just like you find your niche. And
how do you do Funko Pops?
Well, I have a studio that I hire. They do custom ones.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's not directly through Funko. It says custom Funko on the box, but they design the box for me. I send them character designs from the comic book, and they replicate the Funkos. They replicate my characters into the Funkos with some guidance from myself, because we have like undead characters. So I was like, this one's green, or like we did our undead bear. I'm like, here's where the wounds are. So, but they custom make, and they do a great job. So
okay.
So it's like you just find your niche, but it's like almost that 80s feel. I've seen people do Nintendo, like old school NES cartridges with art from their comic book on it. Those were cool. Shot glasses. I mean, you can find just about anything these days. Trading cards. A lot of people do trading cards, metal trading cards. Yeah, you got to go shopping.
Yeah.
T-shirts, of course. I do, like, this is just the first hoodie I did, but people liked that one too. So you could even do like little miniatures. Like I've seen people do acrylic standees of their characters. So it's flat and it just has like a little stand, so they can collect your standees of all your characters. Would be cool. Just something to think about.
Yeah, I'll definitely. Yeah, those are some good ideas. Definitely take advantage of that. I think for them, a beer stein would probably be pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Beer stein.
Yeah, there's a lot of pizza and beer. And like I said, this is an autobiography. So there's pizza and beer.
Beer stein. I wonder where you can get. Well, I mean, you could just get a beer stein and put it on the campaign, but to like personalize it, it might cost a pretty penny. So just make sure the trick with the merch is to know when to buy some in advance and when not to.
Yeah.
Some of the more pricey stuff I don't purchase until I know how many people want. Like the Funko Pops are pretty pricey to make. So I make 5 available, and if only 3 sell, I only order 3. But I have to wait until the money comes in just because they're pricey.
Yeah.
So I don't want to order like 10 of them and sell 2.
Well, I'm looking at it right now, and yeah, it's pretty reasonable.
Beer stein?
Yeah. One would be, that can't be right. I must be reading that wrong.
Where are you, on Amazon?
Discountmugs.com.
That's a Discount Mugs. I want to go to Discount Mugs.
Yeah. One is $7, so that's not too bad with the custom logo.
I'm ignoring the chat. I'm sorry, guys. Hey, guys. Hi, Grey Wolf. Hello. Sorry. We're talking about merch, putting merch on campaigns, and wondering what you think. Tell us what's some of the coolest merch you've seen on some campaigns. You're mug obsessed? Well, Lou, there you go. Because I've done some interesting things, but tell us what you think, has been some of the cooler things merch wise that you've seen on campaigns. Because we always see like buttons and patches and stickers and bookmarks, but it's the stuff that when you think outside the box is what's really, eye catching and will get people to come. So tell us what you think.
I just had an idea for what if you had little pill bottles and it was like a prescription for one of the main characters, Adderall or something like that?
Yeah. Who did that? Oh, no, it wasn't for a book. My buddy has a podcast called Get Your Meds. He has like little orange bottles and it says Get Your Meds, and he is like, I don't know what in there, sugar pills. But it's funny. That would be interesting. I've done secret rewards too, Justin, which are hit or miss. People have to be kind of brave for these because I change it out every time. but the people that get them enjoy them because I handcraft stuff. Like the first one I did was I made a box out of wood, and I stained it, and I burned a poem into the sides. And then if we open the box, I put I hinged it with these nice antique hinges, and inside was a glass bottle with bones and ashes, wax seal. It's just something a little out there, right? So I've done that. I've 3D printed Big James miniatures. I built someone a working disc, which is a piece of technology from my world. So I think that the secret rewards are going to start picking up, but usually I get 1 or 2. I think I had 4 last time. So, but that's just something to play with their mind too. It's like you never know what you're going to get. Secret reward.
Yeah, no, I could. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, those are a lot of great options. Yeah.
And something that's pretty popular is to have the people can be drawn into the comic.
Yeah.
Have you thought it? I'm sure you've thought about that one.
We could definitely, we could sell several of those. They could be the any number of police.
Police or mine is a funny. We like to kill people in my story because it's an apocalypse, right? So we smash and smush just about everybody who gets drawn in. So it's lucky if someone gets out alive. But you could have like people getting picked up by the police, thrown in jail. Like there you go.
All right, yeah.
If I would say check with Rachel though, make sure she's cool with that. Because my artist was like, how many did you make available? I was like, only 5. And he was like, because that's a lot of people to draw in, and it slows them down sometimes. So you're drinking a cheat. Yeah, mugs for that. Coffee mugs. Doc has coffee mugs on his campaigns all the time too. I was thinking I might need one. I might do one for myself that says "Tears of My Readers" and just.
Ooh.
Just one for me. Tears of my readers.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Some things to think about.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, he doesn't have a launch date yet, Pops, but this is something that we also recommend when you are campaigning is to do a launch party. So you build up, once you pick a date, kind of promote that date for minimum 2 weeks, just to let everybody know this is when we're launching, this is when we're launching, this is when we're launching. Show up. Because a lot of the campaigning platforms, the sooner you get funded, they will actually push, their algorithm will push your project to the front. At least that's how Kickstarter works.
Yeah.
So that's why you always see them say like funded in 1 hour, funded in 2 hours. Those campaigns get pushed to the front once they're funded. So if you can train your people, train your audience to show up on day 1 and to at least get you across your minimum goal, it will help you get more traction, get more views, right? And so one of the things that we do on the Comic Related Madness Network, my brain, sorry, is that we host launch parties. And I host a lot of these. So we usually will go through the campaign. So it's built at this point, and you'll give us like a preview of what's on the page. We'll talk about all the rewards, all the good stuff. And then you push the button live. And then we just chat and watch the number go up, right? As people start backing. That's a great way to get attention.
Yeah,
you know?
we should definitely do that.
I do those. And then on the flip side, when the campaign is ending, you do a countdown party. And then we get to all watch the confetti go and celebrate success. So those are 2 ways. You know, anytime you're campaigning, you want to be live as much as possible.
Right.
Come on and do shows. We've got a ton of shows you can come on. So all good stuff, Justin.
Yeah. No, we should definitely connect and get a lot more done there. That's awesome. Yeah. I kind of have to run though. I mean, well, I mean, you
want to get going? That's okay.
Well, I mean, how, hold on. I don't know. It's,
something going on.
Well, I mean, it is Tuesday. You know, I have other obligations and stuff, but no,
Jeff
I mean,
didn't tell you it was a 2-hour show.
Oh, it is. Okay, I didn't.
It's
yeah.
okay. It's all right. Pops is
No,
here.
all
We
right.
can
I just
handle the
wanted
last 30 minutes, dude. If you need to go to work, we
No.
totally
No,
understand.
I kind of wanted to know. I thought it was 1 hour, and so I thought we were running really over. And so I
Oh,
was curious what was happening.
Jeff Haas, I'm disappointed in you, man. He
Well,
knows he sends a lot of people to my show. He should know better that it's a 2-hour
yeah,
show.
we're doing a lot of these. He might have told me, and I just blanked or something. But yeah, so there's that. I mean, SWAT's great. My other project is Edge of Darkness, which is completely different thing.
Tell us about that one. You
It's
didn't mention that one.
no, that's not where we're not working on that one yet. I mean, that's not
Gotcha.
related to the thing, but I do have 6 or 7 pages of it drawn, and it's out with publishers. I don't know if I can drop this
Can you
in.
screen share it? A lot of times, if you go to that on the bottom where it says screen share,
Okay.
it says present, and then there's a screen share.
All right.
You can
So I'm
stick
just
something
gonna,
there, and I can put it up on the screen for you.
okay. Share screen. Okay. Good Lord. What? Okay. Getting passwords.
Oh no! Oh,
I've done that before.
you can come back on. Hopefully, Justin will come back. I'm not sure what happened.
I know that button. I hit that button on a regular basis.
Whoops! I hate it when
How you
that
doing,
happens.
Laurie?
I'm all right. I'm coughing away, but oh, here he is. Okay, good.
All right.
Hey,
Okay,
hey, man.
I will let you continue.
Super sorry. Okay.
It happens.
Wait. Entire screen. That's fine. Let's do that. All right. So I've carefully made sure there's no pornography or anything. So
There
yeah,
we go.
this is it.
Ooh.
Leonardo Romanelli did the art. It's if humans have lived under the sea for thousands of years or millions of years, and they haven't seen the sun in God knows how long, so they have all this biological technology that lets them, dive into the depths and get food and whatnot. So that's the idea. This one, I mean, I really love the art. I mean, it's a lot. It's not funny. It's not funny the way that SWAT is, but it's definitely pretty dramatic, and the art really nails it. I think he's done an amazing job with it.
It makes it look like what it would look like underwater.
It's
You know what I mean, in the dark.
Yeah, when you're at the depths, right after when you're really deep, red light doesn't go very far, and so that's used by animals for like close-up vision.
Mm-hmm.
And blue goes further, so that's like messaging and communication. So there's a lot of light issues going on, visually, and it's kind of a smothering, claustrophobic feel to it because they're underwater all the time. So completely different vibe, but I think it's also a really good series. So
when's that one coming out? Or
well, it's out with publishers right now, and basically, if we get with the right one, then we have a completely different arrangement than otherwise. So we're going to wait and see what happens with that in terms of the royalties and stuff. So it's out hopefully soon. But I was told multiple times that all these comic companies get back to you within a month by published writers, and that is not true. And
no, it's usually like 3 months, if ever.
Yeah. So,
and comic book publishers are kind like the distributors and the publishers are we could have a whole nother show talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
They're not taking on projects. There was a lot of movement with distributors. So like Diamond lost all of Image. Image went to Lunar Distributor. So distributors aren't picking up indie. And people like Image and Dark Horse and Scout are inundated with pitches. So a lot of times, like I've pitched and I don't hear anything. And then I don't even know if they're even looking at my stuff because I haven't even gotten a decline. You know what I mean? So
well, I hope they haven't secretly rejected all of it. I mean, I did have one publisher, but it was very small, one interested, but they were kind of so flaky, I just walked off. But well, that's disappointing.
There's a lot of indie publishers out there, but again, you just got to do your homework and make sure what the contract says and that there is a contract, and you know what I mean. So I was very happy just self-publishing, and then I had Charter Comics involved, and now I have ASAP Imagination involved as well. So one distributes and one is the publisher. So just because I didn't want to wait for Image to be like, this is great, because I think my stuff is super great too. And I get told all the time to sell my story to Netflix, but I don't want to lose creative control. So I'm going to keep making books until I'm blue in the face. If someone wants to offer me a deal and $1 million, great. But until then, I'm putting my story out there.
I mean, being the one in charge definitely is nice, you know, the answer to. So, if it goes that way, you know, that's fine too. I just need to get it out, you know.
Exactly. Get it out. Let people start appreciating it. Let it build a following and an audience, you know. And I think sometimes they wait for that to happen. Like Image will be like, how many followers you have? What's your social media platform look like? You know, before they even get people involved, because they want the readership, the built-in readership, without them having to do anything. That's what they want. At least that's my opinion.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, from their perspective, obviously that would help enormously if, you know, you made it for them. And everybody seems to want everybody else to do the marketing these days.
Isn't that terrible?
Yeah. But
I think that is the hardest part of being indie, is that you have to market yourself. And a lot of us don't have time. It's the time, right? To do all the podcasts, to make all the posts while you're trying to create and manage an art team and have a family and sometimes a full-time job on top of that. It's the time that's difficult.
Yeah. No, it definitely can. I mean, that was my experience once I had a kid. It's like I basically could pick 3 things and still, and then everything else had to go. You know, so sports fandom, TV, movies, you know, all that's gone mostly. I do watch a lot of Best of the Worst on repeat. I don't know if you know that show.
The Worst? No, what's that show about?
It's a YouTube show about. It's just these guys that go find like 3 horrible movies and dissect them.
It's like Mystery Science 3000, but
it's like that, except they cut the highlights out and then show that to you, so you don't have to spend an hour and a half watching this terrible movie for like the 3 good jokes. You know what I mean? That's the problem. I love Mystery Science Theater 3000 and riff tracks and everything, but when it's not a good movie, that can there's movies that just have no life to them at all, and they're just terrible. And it doesn't matter how funny you are, you're not saving that. You know, if it's just a complete pain to watch.
That's hard, man. I always feel bad because that's someone's baby. You know what I mean? That worked so hard to get it made, and I've worked in production, and it's a labor. You know, it's a lot of work for just a few minutes of footage, and then to have it suck.
Yeah, I think there's definitely those are the best ones. Is when you're kind of like embarrassed for them on behalf of them. Some of them I honestly think no one was trying. Like there's this one Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode. It's like a Batwoman movie from the 60s, and no one is trying. Like they are all, you can just tell that they're cashing a paycheck. You know, like they got roped into this horrible movie and they're just there to fulfill the contract. And it was just at one point towards the end, one of the hosts just starts screaming "end," and I've wanted to do that in movie ever since. You know. When I was in a really bad one, just start screaming "end," but it's never been the right place.
That would be funny. Just end it.
It was appropriate. I mean, but the really bad ones just have nothing going on. If it's a fun bad movie, that's actually an achievement. That is hard to do. Most of them are just boring. So, yeah.
What's the worst movie you've seen? I'll share mine. Hey, Zing. What's up, man?
Like the worst serious movie I've ever seen?
Well, serious or whatever movie that you were just like, I just can't. Like, this is the worst.
Good Lord. What was it? I walked out of Toy Soldiers in the 90s. I mean, I don't know.
Like the one where
Except
the
that-
little green army men came to life?
yeah, I think Phil Hartman was in it. It might have been his last movie or
Oh.
something like that. I don't know if he was dead yet, but it was just awful. I'm not really. I thought Pearl Harbor was a bit of a stinker, but good Lord, I'm going back 20 years. That's just rough. I can't really think of a horrible movie. I focus more on the people who just sit there and talk through the whole thing. Those are what make a movie experience really awful for me, right? Like I was in this one movie, it was The Thin Red Line back so this is ancient history, but this lady just did not understand that World War II was an actual event, and she was monologuing for the entire movie about like, why do they have so many guns and stuff? Yeah, right. So I just broken up with my girlfriend. I'm super depressed, and I got this chick back here monologuing about everything that she did not know about World War II. It was rough.
You need to leave. You are ruining this for everyone else.
I think I'm at the point now where I would just turn around and be like, ma'am, shut up.
Yeah. Like we're trying to watch a movie. Do you mind?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever watched Ghost Dog. What's Ghost Dog?
What?
You watch Ghost Dog? Ghost Dog? Are you familiar with Ghost Dog, Justin?
Isn't that movie from ages ago with the one guy? I know that's super specific.
I was like, tell us more.
Yeah.
Forrest
Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker.
It's pretty old. Yeah, he's the you would know him. What else has he been in? He's been in everything. He was in Taken 3. There's got to be something better than that. He was in Arrival. He's one of those guys. If you saw his face, you'd be like, "Yes, I know that guy." Right?
I know Forrest Whitaker. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know why that was. I don't know. It has been a very long time since I watched it, but I thought it was okay. I think it was kind of a minor classic
movie. Now, I don't know your opinion on B movies. I watched Velocipaster, which I thought was entertaining for like the first, I want to say 40 minutes. And then after that, I was like, okay, it just needs to end because it's too much. And then there was another one. It was like Lamageddon, which was just terrible. I think I saw those on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely Velocipaster has been mentioned on Best of the Worst. I know that for sure. I don't think they've actually covered it, but that's the kind of movie that they do. I don't know if you noticed, but like I think Future Wars, which came out in like 1996, was the last classic bad B movie that was funny. Future Wars. It came out in 96. It's about dinosaurs, time traveling dinosaurs. You should check it out. It's fun. But after that, that's kind of when the B movie industry, I think, started dying, and it got taken over by perverts who were doing like their weird, like I want women to turn into alligators when I have sex with them kind of movies for a while. Now it's just like this completely cheap Sharknado 5 goofball stuff, right? So I don't know if that's improvement, but
I don't think so. I go on this other show on Monday nights, my friend Corissa Grant, I mentioned, and one of the regular guests that comes on is Tom Hutchinson, and he's like a shark movie fan. So he's seen just about every single shark movie you can see, and I couldn't believe there were so many. They have done everything with sharks. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's Shark Exorcist.
That's one of them. What's this one? I need to know.
Oh, that's the Lamageddon.
Yeah. That's Lamageddon.
Yeah.
There you go, Zing. Let's Lamageddon. Do yourself a favor. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. Like the first opening is a cartoon, and that's fabulous. And that's how they get you to think that the movie is going to be great. It's not good at all. It's really bad. It's really bad.
That's I love the concept of Lichen Colony or Suburban Sasquatch more than I actually want to sit down and watch it. That's why Best the Worst is perfect for me, is because they take all the best stuff and then they leave all the unwatchable garbage on the floor. So
right, that's why you gotta watch those.
They suffer for you. and then provides you with the highlights. So, Suburban Sasquatch, you should check that one out. The best of the worst Sasquatch episode.
Best of the worst. That one I wrote down.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we're going to start wrapping up this show. And I just want to remind you, please go to Zoop. Go to this link. Let me scroll up and get you the link, the linky-loo, so you can sign up for a notification of launch for SWAT, Eldritch Blues, Blue issue number 1. Not Blues. I said it wrong. Sorry about that.
It kind of goes... I mean, I settle on Eldritch Blue like NYPD Blue, but sometimes I say Blues. And that actually fits.
It's kind of like Blues Brothers or NYPD Blue. I see what you're... Yeah.
So,
who cares? Sign up. Go sign up, people.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Do that. I mean, you won't regret it, man. It's like I said, I mean, at the very least, this is the best. This is me at my best. And I think that's probably worth, $10, hopefully. So
I would think so. So tell everybody where they can follow you and on social media. Like, if you're not on a ton of, that's cool. Just tell us like which one you're on and which one like people can get updates, because we don't have a launch date yet. But when you decide, where can people find out that information?
Yeah, so I'm on Blue Sky as Justin Coke at bsky.whatever, and then on Threads it's Justin Coke 6161. Also the same thing on Instagram, and that's where I'm at. So yeah, if you want to follow, that'd be great. There's not a lot going on those right now, but I would definitely update once, I had something to say. So.
Yes. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Sorry for any kind of miscommunication about the show.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, I just didn't understand. I sometimes they run long, and so I apologize for that. Actually, I should have asked
Jeff. I'm just kidding. If you're watching, Jeff is a great publicist. I hired Jeff myself when I was on issue number 1. So again, if you guys need help promoting your campaign, Jeffrey Haas does a great job. He has good quality people, and he will get you on shows. He will do your press release, and he will manage your social media. He's great. Highly recommend Jeff. Always have, always will. So
yep.
Absolutely. So thank you again for coming on the show, and please join us next week as we I'm sure I don't remember. I never remember who's coming on next week. We always have more indie creators that are wonderful. Thank you for the 50 people who tuned in to watch the show, and please be excellent to each other and kiss your babies. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit CB